Hi, my name is Richard Morales. I spent 21 years, 7 months, and 21 days in the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. I really didn't know if I would ever have an opportunity to get out. I didn't know if I'd have a chance at freedom. My only thoughts were, what am I going to do to survive? What am I going to do to survive? And I just had this fear of the unknown inside my gut. You can look at prison as a place where you'll go and it'll be the end of your life. I know a lot of you just headed to prison for the first time. I know you might be feeling a little bit scared, nervous, anxious. But the way that CDCR works today, the way that the California Department of Corrections works today, is that's not their perspective for you. So don't let it be your perspective for yourself.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into this video. Currently, you are watching the Rehabilitative Journey with Richard Morales, who runs his own podcast and is the Director of Communications for Creating Restorative Opportunities and Programs, or CROP organization. Together, both DRP and Morales will guide you through both a personal and in-depth experience of the rehabilitative journey process every single one of you will take upon entering an institution.
It may feel like it's the last chapter of your life, but the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation will have opportunities to show you that it's not the last chapter of your life. And today I'm thriving as a responsible, productive citizen. At one time, I never thought that was possible. But once I got my mindset right and took advantage of the opportunities that were available to me in there, my whole life changed.
This is the road to rehabilitation, or an overview, that is. This generalized life cycle is going to guide you from the start of your sentence to the months that follow after your incarceration, no matter how long your sentence may be. Each part of this life cycle has been simplified into 5 steps that go as followed. Step 1, Reception Center and Classification. Step 2, Education, Innovative Grants, Library, and Recreation. Step 3, College and Career Technical Education. Step 4, Reentry and Treatment Programming. And Step 5, Transitions and Parole Planning. As Richard Morales takes you through his rehabilitative journey inside CDCR, DRP will highlight the areas of each step to help show where in the rehabilitative journey you are. This is where we will start Step 1, the Reception Center and Classification process. We call your first few days in prison the Reception Center. During the Reception Center process, we will focus on orientation and various types of assessments. You'll receive all necessary healthcare evaluations and assessment exams for placement into an institution. CDCR understands your needs will vary from others. That's why CDCR uses specific criminogenic assessments and evaluations to assess your needs within CDCR. In addition to these evaluations, other assessments will be given that are important in determining what type of programming you can access and when. To have access to basic education in prison, you will be given specific academic assessments that will determine your education level. It's also important to note that if you're a veteran or have specific needs, let your counselor know as soon as possible. All in all, this step is for CDCR to familiarize themselves with you and your needs.
One of the things that I want you to know is that CDCR now has many different types of assessment tests that are available that we can take. Back when I first went in, I don't remember there being too many assessment tests outside of a physical and a few programs. But today, they have assessment tests that will assess your needs. And when we're going in there, there's a lot of needs that we have to address some of our issues, like substance abuse. And for me, I was using methamphetamines, I was excessively abusing alcohol, I was using heroin. And so I needed to get into the programs where I can learn how to address my substance abuse, where I can live a life in recovery. There's tests that they offer today that will help you with those assessments. There's also educational tests. Let's say you don't have your GED or your high school diploma, and I just want to encourage you to answer the tests as honestly as possible. They're not meant to be a trick or, put you in the wrong thing. They're actually designed to help you to get exactly into the programming that you need, whether it be for a GED, substance abuse, criminal thinking classes, whatever it is that will equip you to address the needs that you have while you're there. So I would just encourage you to answer honestly. We're in a day and age where there's a lot of programs that are equipped to preparing us for freedom. I know that everybody that's incarcerated right now has different case, different assessments, different amount of time. You may be doing 1 year, you may be doing 6 months, you may be there for the next 25 years. So I don't want to just generalize and make it seem like what I'm saying applies to everybody. It doesn't. But for me, I was sentenced to a long amount of time. I ended up being in for 21 years. So the programming that I experienced may be different from what you're experiencing in 3 years. Some of you may have to move a lot faster to get through a lot of the programs. For me, it was a marathon.
Now that we're moving on to step 2, this is where things may differ for each individual. At this point in your journey, you should have access to education, innovative grant programs, library services, recreation, and even college if you're eligible. Do keep in mind that different institutions and security levels limit the availability of specific programs. Now, this may be the longest step in your journey, but it provides access to many rehabilitative programs which can help you develop new skills as well as provide an opportunity to decrease your sentence under education. So let's talk education. If your evaluation results suggest that you should increase your education levels, you will be placed on an academic list. Correctional education instructors will give you 2 more academic exams. One is a more in-depth version of the previous academic assessments you took, and the other is a comprehensive Adult Student Assessment Systems, or CASAS, exam. These tests will give CDCR a full understanding of your math and reading needs and estimated grade level. You'll also find that library and recreation services are available to you. DRP will provide you opportunities to enhance your literacy and provide access to rich literature content, law library services, and research materials for college classes. Moving over to the innovative grant process, DRP awards grants to nonprofit vendors. These include programs such as the Prison Yoga Project, gardening, art projects, and many more. These are coordinated at the local institution level through the Division of Adult Institutions, or DAI, Community Resource Manager. DAI is responsible for finding space, coordinating activities and times, developing class assignments, and coordinating all grantees' access to the institution.
So think about where you're at in this journey with the amount of time that you have left. Think about where you're at. You've already gone through your assessments, and now you're considering, hey, what's available to me? There's educational opportunities available to me. If you don't have your GED yet, you're going to get assessed either into AB1, AB2, AB3, or right to the GED program. And my encouragement to you would be to set some goals. So once that becomes your goal, then you start taking the actions. CDCR, they can't make that happen for you. They're making these assessments as far as education goes with the purpose of helping people get their GED or their high school diploma, but they can't make you do it. So it's up to us to be proactive. It's going to be up to you to be proactive and go after it. So you want to really consider what type of innovative grant program do I want to get into. I know that the Anti-Recidivism Coalition has certain programs, the Success Stories has certain programs, but that's something you really want to look into. Talk to the guys on the line, talk to the counselor, look into what grant programs are available. But it's going to be up to you to be proactive and say, you know what, I'm going to go after it. I'm going to get on this waiting list. There were waiting lists that I was on for years, and maybe you don't have that amount of time, and maybe you have 2 years left and the waiting list is 2 years. In that case, do something different. I wouldn't just sit there and say, well, the waiting list is too long. Try something else. Get involved. Talk to the leader of the program. Let's say there's an innovative grant program and they're saying that there's 2 years left. Maybe it's an option for you to go and ask for a meeting. Ask for a meeting with the person who's running the program and say, hey, if somebody drops out, could I be the next one to get in? Can you write my name down? It's very important to be proactive. I know there's also library services that are available. For me, I didn't spend much time in the library. I spent a lot of my time in vocational training and working on my education in there. But they're available if you want to, just check out books, read books, or if you want to work in there and help people with their cases. If you want to work on your own case, those are available. I knew guys who lived in the law library. They were there every day, all day. And then there's recreational opportunities. I once had a job as a rec clerk. I worked in the gym, and we had the opportunity to run the football program on the yard, the softball program on the yard, different tournaments. We had the opportunity to divvy up prizes, to hold the basketball tournaments in the gym. To me, that was something that was positive that I could do. And my encouragement is to get around those who want to add value to your life, who are community building in a positive way. Because the same patterns that you utilize in there, you're going to eventually be utilizing out here. So what you do in there speaks to your success out here. And especially in the college program, I know that many of you may think like, well, I don't know if college is for me. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can study that much, or I don't know if I have it in me. Or maybe you were told some things growing up about how smart you were or your abilities. I want you to know that for me, the first class I only took one class because I didn't believe in my ability. I didn't believe in myself. I had been told things growing up, you're never going to amount to nothing. I heard that in the home. So I only took one class, and I studied for about 2 hours a day. I applied myself. At the end of the class, I got an A. And after I got 10 A's in a row, something clicked in for me. Something clicked in my mind that said it was never that you weren't smart enough. It was never that you weren't good enough. It was never that you could not be a college graduate. It had everything to do with applying myself and look at it as an opportunity to enjoy the journey. That may seem like a crazy perspective. Like, how am I going to enjoy my educational journey in prison? I'm in prison. I wish I could be free. Well, I wish I could be free as well. But for me, I had to get free on the inside before I could ever be free on the outside. And so I learned to be able to take the programs that I was involved with and learned how to enjoy them and learn how to be free in them and learn how to utilize my mind and my skills and learn new disciplines. And those disciplines are paying off for me today. But I want you to know that the ceiling for who you could be and for what you can do and for what you can achieve is so much higher than you actually believe that it is in your mind right now. So step into those opportunities and enjoy the journey. That's probably the best perspective that you can take on while you're there.
Step 3 will partially blend into your final years or months of being institutionalized and will differ according to your sentence. Once you receive a high school diploma or equivalency, GED or HiSET, DRP correctional education staff will review and access eligibility for possible face-to-face and/or college correspondence courses. DAI also plays a critical role in juggling the assignment/scheduling process so that you are able to attend college, complete assignments, jobs, or other programming. This can come earlier or later in your sentence depending on your previous assessments. Still playing into Step 3, your programming will focus on treatment and pursuing a higher education in the last 60 to 48 months of your incarceration. This is where Career Technical Education, or CTE, comes into play. CTE programming focuses specifically on technical skills that will boost your career opportunities in 6 different fields. This includes construction, energy and utilities, finance and business, public service, manufacturing and product development, and transportation. Within these 6 different career sectors, there are multiple different CTE programs to choose from, such as welding, cosmetology, carpentry, and many more. This is our way of providing you industry-recognized certification and employable pathways to livable wages and positive employment throughout California. To be successful in CTE programming, having an appropriate math and reading level are often critical aspects. DRP's Career Technical Education programming acts as a pre-apprenticeship program to a potential institutional and prison industry authority jobs.
And I realize that education isn't for everybody. I know I've spent time in conversations now that I've been free with the director of CDCR's Department of Rehabilitative Programming. And I know that he's encouraged along the way that if a person absolutely doesn't want to be an education type program, there's other opportunities that are available. And let's get people into the rooms where they want to be productive, where they want to learn, and the things that they want to do. So for some people, that degree really matters, but it may be for you that you want to get into career technical education programs inside of CDCR. A lot of these programs were non-existent, 5 or 10 years ago, but they're available today. So consider the amount of time that you have left in your sentence and consider getting into one of these that really appeals to you, the best way to live life to me, from my perspective now being free, is to get into a career field doing something that you love, doing something that you could be passionate about. So for me, I'm hosting a podcast and I'm in communications. But for others out here, that would be like drudgery for them. For others out here, they'd rather be driving a rock crusher or a Caterpillar. They love those types of things. And I know that CDCR now has construction type programs where you can learn masonry or energy and utilities. There's finance and business classes. There's manufacturing and product development. I think of the different areas that are available in there, such as welding. I've known somebody since my release in March 20th of 2019. A particular guy that I met came to the transitional housing that I was at. He came with a certification in welding. And now he's making $58 an hour as a welder out here, which is really good money, something close to $100,000 a year. And I just want to encourage you, take advantage of those programs, welding program, cosmetology, carpentry. CDCR is providing those industry recognized certification programs and employable pathways to making a livable wage and getting positive employment out here in California. And then really think about, like, how do I want to spend my time? You know, CDCR, they can provide the program, but only you can make the decision. And I'll tell you that the number one thing that companies like Google and like Microsoft say is that we would love to hire people who are formerly incarcerated, but it's very difficult for us to hire them because they don't know how to send an email. They don't know how to operate Google Suite. They don't know how to operate Microsoft Suite. So if the career technical education programs that are at the institution that you're at include Microsoft training or Google training, and that's something that you love, getting behind a computer, working on programs, designing, graphic arts, that's the way of the future, technology. If that's something that appeals to you, get in those classes. Be the person that gets in there, maximizes your time, learn everything you can with your vision for your future in mind. Make a livable wage, live as a responsible citizen, own a home one day, own my vehicle, start a family. What is it going to take now? What investments do I need to make now that'll pay off in the future? And so really think about DRPs, or the Department of Rehabilitative Programming's career technical education programming. They have apprenticeship programs, and at each institution there's different programs are being offered. So check into the ones that are the institution that you're at, check into those, and if maybe they don't have the one that you want, maybe it's at a lower level, well, work as hard as you can to get your points down to get to the lower level prison that you're at. Continue to work. Let's say you have more time than 3 or 4 years, work to get into the prison that offer the career technical education that you prefer.
Moving over to step 4 of your journey, you will now begin being placed into various types of treatment and re-entry programs. This will usually take place during your last 12 to 24 months left to serve. You will most likely be placed into one of the following cognitive behavioral intervention programs as a result of your transitioning. These include intensive outpatient, and life skills. The Cognitive Behavioral Intervention, or CBI, treatment model teaches you how to reframe antisocial thoughts in a more positive way to lead you to pro-social feelings and behaviors. These treatment programs are arranged at the end of your sentence so that you may retain these skills upon release. CDCR also prepares eligible participants or release by enrolling you in community-based reentry programs prior to your formal release from custody. These reentry programs replace any programs that you were unable to receive while incarcerated. They also help connect you with community-based resources that can help you with employment, family reunification, education, and treatments. At this stage, your correctional counselors will meet with you to discuss your eligibility to receive a California identification card. The ID card is valuable when you leave prison as it will help you with healthcare needs, housing, and right to work documentation.
As you get closer to the end of your sentence, probably with about 15 to 12 months to left to serve, you'll go through another assessment program, sort of like you did at the beginning of your sentence. And there are different programs now that CDCR will assess you into that will help transition you before your release. So one of these is called like the Cognitive Behavioral Intervention Treatment Model. The Cognitive Behavioral Intervention Program, that's something that I attend even in my freedom. I know that there's a lot of stigma behind attending therapy programs or cognitive behavioral therapy, or maybe some of you have experienced being involved in small groups or some of the self-help groups on the line. This is very similar, very similar. It's a place where you can go talk about your thoughts, reframe your thoughts in a positive way. All of us struggle with those internal conversations, and sometimes our internal conversations can be negative, can attempt to pull us back to some old ways of thinking, especially as we're getting closer to release. So as we're getting closer to release, I just want to encourage you. You might hear some of those, negative thoughts come up, and being involved in the cognitive behavioral programs that CDCR now offers as we're closer to getting out helps with that. They'll help you reframe your thoughts. And I'll tell you that from my perspective, as somebody who was incarcerated for over 21 years and now is going on my second year of freedom, that the number one most important thing for me on a daily basis is my mindset. And so that's something that I work on in the cognitive behavioral treatment programs that I attend today. And the reason why they do that is because they want to equip us in our thinking. So all of our actions, all of our behaviors come from our thinking. So if we can transform our thinking, if we can shift the way we think about our days, about our lives, about ourselves, then we can shift and transform our behavior on a regular basis. So everything starts with the thoughts. So you're going to be placed in one of these programs. You may be thinking like, well, I was secure in this job right here, or I was secure in this program. And I understand that we can all get comfortable in certain jobs, but one of the things I want to encourage you to do, you have 12 to 15 months left. It's very important to start transitioning yourself mentally.
Moving on to the final step, in your last 7 months to serve, you will participate in the transitions program that will assist you in transitioning back into the community by focusing on employment and financial literacy training. Prior to your release, you will be given a re-entry criminogenic assessment. This exam will reassess your criminogenic needs and help determine community re-entry programs that may prove beneficial to you. Additionally, you will be provided assistance while applying for SSI, VA, and medical services. Once in the community, the Division of Adult Parole Operations, or DAPO, parole agents work closely with DRP to get you into available community-based services, including treatment, employment, transitional housing, and other community services. This is all structured for your successful release.
I personally went through the transitions program. Not only does it help with mindset, but it also helps with some things that I couldn't imagine until I was free that I would need help with. Things like opening up a bank account, things like writing a check, things like going to the Social Security office and applying for my Social Security card, something that I hadn't had for years. Things like building a credit score. How do I build a credit score? How do I get a credit score? You'll also be connected to your correctional counselor, and they're going to meet with you to discuss your eligibility to receive a California identification card. So if you can take advantage of this opportunity to walk out with an ID and not come out here like some of my formerly incarcerated friends who it took 2 to 3 months to get an ID or a driver's license. I wouldn't want that to be you. I would prefer and I would hope that you would want to walk out of there with your ID. So talk to your counselor, see if you're eligible to get it while you're still in. And there's also opportunities to sign up for your healthcare needs. I particularly was one of those who went to my meetings, and I think they hold them in the mental health department. At every prison it's different. But once you go up there, they'll get you signed up for Medicare. That way you can walk out. And if you get sick, you'll already have your records and health information in order. And you can walk right into a clinic or a hospital and already be equipped and ready for that. And then there's also housing and the right to work documentation that you might want to look into with your counselor. Housing is one of the most important things out here. I know for myself, I was assigned to a transitional home, and I actually got to go to the transitional home that I wanted to, and my counselor facilitated that. And so many of you may be wanting to go to a wife's house or a parent's house or to a loved one's house, or you may be wanting to go to a transitional house. Talk to your counselor about getting into transitional housing, because it's at the transitional house that you have an opportunity to save money, to get a job, to reacclimate, reacquaint yourself with society, learn some basic things that other formerly incarcerated people who are just getting out are all learning at the same time. The rules are minimal. It's not really a big deal. We've had much more rules while we were incarcerated, so we're free, and it is definitely an opportunity that you want to look into getting into transitional housing. And they're different in all parts of the state. But in your last 7 months to serve, you're going to participate in the transitions program, and it's going to assist you into transitioning back into the community by focusing on employment and financial literacy training. And it's very important to get in that program. I was talking about it a little bit a few minutes ago, but you'll again take the Compass reentry assessment again. And what it's going to do is reassess your criminogenic needs and help determine community reentry programs that'll prove beneficial to you. So there are a lot of opportunities out here for those programs, whether it be for SSI or if you're a veteran, you go to Veteran Affairs. I myself am a veteran, and I was able to get a little bit of help and go and get my veteran's ID card. And there's also Medi-Cal services. So those are all things in that last 7 months stretch before getting out, programs that CDCR is going to help you get involved with. So the Department of Rehabilitative Programming, they've done their part and they're doing their part. And there's so many new programs on the horizon, whether it be through education or through CTE. There's so many positive things on the horizon for us. But again, I want to encourage you to be proactive. Be proactive in your own freedom. Be proactive in taking advantage of the videos that come out that provide this type of information, because they can provide all the information, but it's going to be you who has to apply it. It's going to be you who gets to apply it to live as a responsible citizen once you're free. And that is highly possible. And again, I know that everybody's journey is different than everybody else's, and only you know your journey. But don't let that be the deciding factor in not participating in the rehabilitative programs that are being offered to you. Don't let that be the deciding factor in what limits you for your future. Let these programs, let these educational opportunities, let these cognitive behavioral therapy opportunities become stepping stones for your rehabilitation and your transition into society. Always be desiring better for yourself. CDCR is not like the old days anymore. There's so many new programs coming out, so many new opportunities that they're providing, and they're doing their part to provide. So it's up to us to step into these opportunities. And from the moment you enter prison until your last few months of getting out, pay very close attention to what's available. Take advantage of the opportunities. Be positive. Work on mindset. CDCR offers tools in this day and age. They offer the tools that are necessary for our personal development, for mindset development, and for a better future. If you want a future worth having, take advantage of the training and the various life skills that they offer that will advance your education, help you earn a GED, a college degree, and become certified in a career trade that you can actually make a livable wage in, that you can love and be passionate about.
DRP thanks you for tuning into this video. Understanding the rehabilitative journey that you'll be taking is crucial in your success inside CDCR. If you happen to have missed sections of this video, please look for it on our institutional channels and watch it again. DRP would also like to thank Richard Morales for sharing his advice about the current rehabilitative journey CDCR is currently providing. Thank you.